that you were upset about having to wait. So now we have to wait until you can turn your camera on.
Can you see me now?
Amazing how that works.
Yeah, it just gave me an option, sir.
Your Honor, I did review probation's recommendation regarding the violation. We do ask that you adopt the recommendation. Mr. Stanley and I, the conversation about the complete. He says he's going to work on that as soon as possible. He is going to provide Ms. Blair with his work authorization or work proof. And again, we ask that you adopt that recommendation today. And we did talk about the wait. He is very concerned because he's at work right now.
I'm sorry that my life happened to have emergencies. I'm on the bench every day. And if you think for him, I'm going to leave my daughter out on the side of a highway, not going to happen.
I'm sorry, sir. I totally understand it. I had a friend of myself. I had a friend of myself commit suicide this morning. I've had a very difficult morning, and I'm.
Ms. Polero, what did you want to tell the court?
Your Honor, I just wanted to provide to the court that Mr. Stanley is in violation of the terms that was ordered by the court. Probation would ask that the court give Mr. Stanley a chance to complete probation terms, and is recommending that he serve 3 days in jail, credit for the 3 days that he served, that the balance of his $975 be paid by the application of his bond that he posted, that the court extend the prosecutor deferred for a period of 9 months, that he report to probation tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. in person, then as directed, that he become compliant with all previously ordered terms of this court within 30 days, with the final review hearing February 12, 2025 at 9 a.m.
Sir, anything you want to say before I impose sentence?
I agreed to give over the bond money to pay for the fines. That was the money I was saving up. I'm sorry that I failed to comply with the fingerprints and the outpatient therapy and everything else. I want to keep my job and not go to jail and lose it possibly.
Sentence of the court, 3 days Washington County Jail, credit for the 3 days that he served for the violations today. He's to pay $975 or $975 balance today. I will apply the bond, which will account for 900 of that. The balance has to be paid today. I will extend his prosecutor deferred sentence for a period of 9 months. I'll order that the defendant is to report to probation on Thursday, May 9th at 11:30 a.m. in person, and then report as directed. He is to become compliant with all previous ordered terms within 30 days. I will schedule a final review hearing on February 12th, 2025, 9 a.m.
Sir, is there any way that I can show up tomorrow to pay the remainder?
Fine. Pay it tomorrow.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Are we done? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Court calls the case. People versus Damon.
It's like I'm not looking at let's sign and then I'm going to do a copy.
We now call 23 CR 1750, the state of Texas versus Gary Dwayne Falk. You were Mr. Falk
Yes, sir. It's just.
with your attorney, Ms. Mantellini, and the state's attorney. Earlier in this cause number 23-1750, you pleaded guilty to evading arrest and detention. Okay, so evading arrest, and then you pleaded true to paragraph 2, a prior evading detention. So 1 and 2 constitute a state jail felony. The state did not pursue additional paragraphs. You have 3 other prior felony convictions. Two of those are subsequent to the previous ones. So you were looking at a state jail felony potentially in this indictment punished as though it were a second-degree felony. You were looking at up to 20 years in prison. Somehow your attorney was able to fashion not only a cap in the total punishment range, a state jail felony up to 2 years, but it was even lowered under the agreement to no more than 18 months. So from 20 years to 18 months is your high range that the court has to review, which was a pretty good work by your attorney. So you understand you're looking at no less than 180 days, nor more than 18 months in the state jail. You're looking at deferred or unadjudicated probation. And you're looking at regular probation. You can be sentenced to no less than 180 days up to 18 months in the state jail. And then that could be suspended and you could be placed on regular probation for up to 5 years. So I think those are all our options.
Sure.
All right. So pre-sentence report has been prepared. Have the parties had an opportunity to review it, and are there any corrections or changes to it?
No, sir. We have had an opportunity and there are no corrections or changes. Depends.
None from the state, Your Honor.
Made a part of the record for all purposes. All right. Go ahead, defense.
So, Your Honor, what I'm sure you can imagine, I may have even noted it on the plea papers. Mr. Falk is asking you to grant him probation. And looking at his pre-sentence report is the type of report that I know will definitely get your attention, and you would say it's probably one of the worst ones you've seen, although page and a half of them
Why
are
would I say that?
misdemeanors, but I mean, are juvenile. But he does have some 2 misdemeanor convictions, and he's got the several, I counted them a minute ago, but I think it was about 5 or so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 felonies priors. The last one being conviction back in 2004. And then he's got this current offense. So he got out of prison in 2019 on that last conviction. And he did end up in a situation with his wife, and it ended up where he had a misdemeanor result from it, and also this not stopping for the police. But this one happened in 23/19/20, so that's like 4 years later after he got out of prison. But what he's been doing since that time, I think, warrants bringing up to your attention. I will tell you that he does go to Spindletop. He's been working with them with his mental health. He sees Dr. Gary F. Duncan. Is that correct? That's Dr. Duncan. His name is Dr. Duncan. Yeah, Dr. Duncan at Spindletop. And he takes medications, 2 names which are mentioned in the pre-sentence report, which I would not be able to pronounce very well. He does also, he is in the works, as it says in pre-sentence, and he's brought me documentation of these things, that he is trying to work with Social Security to get funds through Social Security income, so that supplemental income because it was suggested to him, I believe, by MHMR that he needed to try to get Medicaid to pay for his medications. And so he's been working on that. Also, since in the last year or so, he has been working with his wife on a looks like a charitable organization, and it's called Coach for the Homeless. And I have brought things for you to look at. He's brought things for you to look at if you're wanting to see something more. But I do believe I saw where they interviewed this little charitable organization on the news, and so it is something that he's actively involved with. They try to service about 30 people a month with toiletries, blankets, different things that can assist them that they are needing while homeless. And also they have managed to become community service providers for our adult probation system. So I feel comfortable that the adult probation system would not send their probationers to do community service with a fly-by-night outfit or something that they felt like was shady. So I think that really kind of goes into a feather and a very complicated hat for him. He also brought his Spindletop paperwork to support that he is trying to work with Spindletop on his mental health. And one of the recommendations were, if he, in the probation report, if he did receive probation, they're of course recommending that he stay with all of that Spindletop work.
How much time accrued, please, in this case? Thank you.
And he does have some trainings while he was in prison. He was certified for sheet metal, small engine repair, and welding. He's had difficulty getting employment through those things, I'm sure, because of his record. But as was mentioned in the probation report, there could be services or programs in probation that might help him not only build on that, but help him get employment so that he can have an income that he could live on and not necessarily rely on supplemental Social Security income. So although the report clearly points out the negative aspects that probation might have for him, it almost seems to me it's overweighed by all the positive aspects that somebody in Mr. Falk's position could glean and accomplish from the benefits of probation. And in addition to all those things he's already started on his own. So we would ask that the court grant him community supervision, whether it be straight probation or deferred, and allow him to continue on the path that he seemed to be working on, at least over the last year, in bettering himself and in helping the community.
Stay.
Yes, Your Honor. There are several things that I find concerning in this pre-sentence investigation. The most concerning for me is the defendant's version of the events in this case. He says that there was an altercation involving his wife and a customer, and the police were involved, and he fled, and the police just happened to point a taser at him. At no point is he taking responsibility for his actions in this case.
Are you taking responsibility?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
You made some bad choices
Yes, sir.
in this.
Should have stopped.
Okay.
I would just like to point out that he at no point in his version of events admits to the assault of his wife, which led to the police being called, and he has been found guilty of. The reason that the police were called is that he assaulted his wife. She went to work and she was so concerned for him and her safety that she had someone else at the store call the police because she was afraid of him. That is not in his version of the events. He has a violent criminal history. He does do that work with his wife that he says, but
What is
again,
it exactly?
It's called Coastal Homes, where we go around.
What do y'all do?
We get donations and we get hygiene and snacks and blankets and jackets, and we go and pass them out to the homeless community.
Okay. Do you get paid for that?
No, sir.
That's completely and totally selfless. A donation
Yes,
on
sir.
y'all's part.
Yes, sir.
Who do you get those items from?
People donate them. They heard about the organization and we've been on the news like 5 times. And people hear about us going around feeding the community and so they want to help out, so they donate. And we take.
Is it limited to Beaumont?
No, sir. We do Port Arthur, we do Beaumont, Port Arthur, we go all around. Jay.
And how often is this done?
As much as we can afford. We usually do it like once a month. I mean, if we get more donations, we do it more, but we do it as much as we can.
Okay. So you're busy doing this. How long have y'all been doing this?
When I got out in 2019, she been doing it like since 2014 or something. I can't
Okay,
remember.
so what happens in July of last year? Why aren't y'all focused on doing benevolent work? And what's going on here where the police have to tase you? My goodness.
And they didn't tase me, Judge.
Oh, I'm sorry. The police.
They put a tase out and I stopped.
You used it, and it says they used a taser. Whether you got tased, they used a taser. Maybe they missed you. I don't know, or whatever. When they contacted you with the taser, maybe they were able to pull it out quickly. I don't know, but the police say that they used a taser on you. But the point is you evaded. I mean, that's what you pleaded guilty to.
Yes, sir.
And why do you just think about fleeing with all this to lose and all these people that you're helping? How do you help them when you're doing 18 months confinement in the state jail? Kind of hard to do that, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, what do you want to do?
I'm trying to change, Judge.
Well, it's but your choices. You change. I mean, it's choice making.
Sir.
You know, right from wrong.
And I stay motivated by it. I try to do hard job work and then
I know, but fleeing from the police is wrong. It's not going to work out well.
Sure.
They're not going to stop until they catch you, unless there's some way you can outrun them. But I'm looking at just as a juvenile, how many different events occurred in your life as a juvenile where you were dealt with in the juvenile system? Do you remember? A lot of them, huh?
About 60,
41.
I was
41.
running away. Sure.
There are 41 events. And your parents, where are your parents still alive?
No, sir.
They're all passed?
My mother got killed when I was young.
Sir?
My mother got killed when I was young.
Okay. And what about your dad? You don't even know? All right. And then it looks like on misdemeanors, you've got an evading detention in 95, which you got 30 days county jail. And then 14 days, assault, bodily injury, family member. It was
That's from the same event, Your Honor.
this from this,
Yes, Your Honor.
921. Then felony history, we go unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. You were on probation in 95. That was revoked and you received 8 years prison, right?
Yes, sir.
Then also in 95, you had unauthorized use of them. It looks like 2 unauthorized use of motor vehicles. 3 unauthorized use of motor vehicles. One of those, you get 8 years in prison, and the other 2, it's revoked and you receive 2 years state jail. That's what it's showing on three different cases in 95. So time goes by and we have looks like 2 aggravated robberies in 04. And those are adjudicated. You get 15 years confinement in each case in 2006. So I'm looking at, well, all of those are reflected in the And most of them are reflected in the indictment. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 prior felonies. 2, 3. No, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. 1 8 years confinement and 2 15-year confinement. So those are 3 major felonies, and then 2 2-year state jails, 2 state jails. Are we right about that?
Yes, sir.
So you can't, if you went to trial before a jury, you would be disallowed from the jury even considering probation for you because you're not eligible for probation under your criminal history. So every time you commit a felony offense, you're facing prison or in front of a jury, it's prison or prison. I mean, there is no option. Then you have to plead guilty in front of a judge to even be considered for some kind of probation under your criminal history, which is all okay. Your medications. Are you still taking this oxcarbazepine,
Yes, sir.
carbazepine,
Yes, sir.
and quetiapine? I think is the way it's pronounced. There are 2 of them. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what do those help you?
Yes, sir.
All right. What happens if you don't take those?
I have a lot of energy.
Black out? You black out or
I
something?
have like a lot of, I like clean up. I clean up. I have a lot of energy, and I just overthink. And
Well, that's overthinking. It's not been a problem for a lot of the lawyers in this court. What do you do? And not to be facetious, but what do you mean you overthink?
I can't. I just think a lot. Dude. I have a lot on my mind. You know, I'm just always reading and always looking stuff up and just.
You feel like you're a pretty smart guy?
I guess, sir.
Why are you standing in front of me?
I made a mistake.
But it's the same kind of mistake you made before, which kind of puts it in a bad position of getting probation when you repeat. But you're smart enough to know bad choices have consequences that are not good consequences. You have to pay a price. And you're looking at 18 months confinement. And if I'm going to sentence you under your criminal history, it's 18 months is what we're pretty much looking at here as I boil this down. And then you're kind of out of commission. You can't help your family, and you certainly can't help the community. All right. Anything else to add? If not, I'm going to make my findings. I'm going to find that you have pleaded guilty to paragraph 1 and paragraph 2, which constitute the state jail felony of evading arrest or detention with a previous conviction of evading detention here in paragraph 2. So you are looking at a state jail felony, no less than 180 days, no more than 2 years confinement, and a fine up to $10,000. You have pleaded guilty here voluntarily. You are mentally competent to do so. You understand and appreciate the consequences of pleading true. There's sufficient evidence supporting your guilty plea to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I now find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And I am following this agreement. This agreement is a cap no more than 18 months in the state jail for confinement. I hereby sentence you to confinement in the state jail for 18 months. You understand what has happened today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But mercy falls like gentle rainfall. It benefits those who give it, and it benefits those who receive it. I'm going to place you on probation for 5 years. Follow these terms of probation.
Yes, sir.
Don't commit a crime. Or this one's simple. We come back, you're revoked and sentenced to 18 months. Then,
Yes, sir.
you know, so you're sentenced to this. The only thing keeping you out of 18 months in the state jail is your behavior and your choices. Make sure you follow your medications. Work hard. When you're able to, help people in the community.
Yes, sir.
There's no, and whatever the police order you to do when they are stopping you, investigating or arresting you, follow their orders 100%. Those are simple. I don't want you back here unless we celebrate, hey, it's time to terminate probation successfully. Okay. So you've got one foot in the state jail, keep the other foot out by doing the right things, okay? Here are the probation orders. Let me sign. So I've got 18 months state jail, suspended for 5 years. Probation. There will be terms and conditions of probation. The probation officer is going to go over with them. Go over them with you. Make sure you understand them fully, but most importantly, that you follow these. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I've signed these probation orders. Do you understand what
Yes, sir.
go do?
Thank you.
Go and do well. Please see the probation officer. Thank you.